So I had a chance a few nights ago to check out the new Mean Girls edition, the musical version of it, starring Angry Rice. I have no idea. Tina Fey and some new faces that I don't really know anything about. And for anybody who's not educated on the Mean Girls plot, it's basically this girl who's been living in Africa for most of her life being homeschooled and now has a chance to actually go to a public school and all of the awkwardness and trying to fit in with a certain clique. I'm actually kind of surprised that I went out of my way to see this. I did it because some people were asking me to check it out, branch out my horizons on movies, and I figured it would probably not hurt to start off with something like this, especially for 2024, because I want to try to keep up to date on certain new movies that are coming out, even though this technically, I think, came out 2023? No, it didn't. It came out this year. Never mind. As far as my history with the original Mean Girls, I saw it a long time ago, back when it released. I thought it was alright. The humor was really out there and just really weird. Tina Fey's fingerprints are all over the screenplay, and it does carry over in this movie, but the humor, except for a few jokes here and there, don't really land for me. And I realize that comedy is probably the most subjective thing in any form of entertainment. What makes somebody laugh over here is not going to make somebody laugh over there. But admittedly, there were a few times where it got a good chuckle out of me. So it's not a complete loss. And I do like the idea of this girl who's never experienced high school life tries to prove that she is all that. And of course, it blows up in her face. And in order to repair the damage, she excels at what she's good at by being a math nerd, participating in a math contest, which is usually a spelling bee in a lot of movies like this. I do not care for math at all. I barely passed math in school, and even now I still don't understand it. But ironically, I thought that math contest sequence was kind of fun. And in this movie, Lindsay Lohan makes an appearance as the moderator. I guess we're going full on spoilers at this point. I'm kind of all over the place here. When she showed up, I went, oh my god. Of course she's in here. I mean, Tina Fey and the guy who plays the principal, Tim Meadows. Okay, when Tim Meadows showed up in here too, I thought, okay, that makes sense. I mean, it wasn't too long ago that the original Mean Girls came out, and physically they look about the same as they did then, so I don't think it was really that big of a deal for people. And also, if they are good at both of those characters, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if there's any changes that I could point out between this and the original, there's a few things that they tweak along the way, but it's more or less what we saw in the original movie, with the social media stuff and the musical numbers. When it comes to the discourse on remakes in general in Hollywood, it's very, well, chaotic. So many will argue that we're getting way too many sequels, reboots, and remakes. It's not exactly unheard of, but it is noticeable in the last 20 plus years that Hollywood seems to try to keep riding the coattails of what made an original resonate with a lot of people by recreating that success. Not anything new, but it is much more noticeable now. There really isn't much of a difference between this and the original counterpart. Aside from the stuff that I mentioned, I do kind of like how Katie's mom is more sympathetic to her with her predicament after Regina gets hit by the bus, because in the original film she just wrote her off and was terrified of her that she became this evil monster. And my initial reaction there was, this is your child. Why would you jump to that conclusion so quickly? And I'm not exactly one for musicals, but I did like how they used the musical numbers in order to get us a glimpse inside the characters' heads to understand what they're thinking. The two side characters, Janice and Damien, they have their moments, just like they do in the original film, although I think the original duo was a little more funnier in that one. Not to dismiss these two guys here. Of course, they have the whole he's almost too gay to function line, which is more or less as funny as it was the first time around. Probably the biggest difference that I picked up on was just how evil Regina was. Rachel McAdams in the original film was a lot more prissy and oh my god, a different kind of despicable. The moment that Regina steps on screen in this one, the evilness just oozes right out of her. She's basically Satan. I did kind of like how she has a moment with Katie in the bathroom right before the big speech that she makes at the high school dance. She gets hit by a bus like she does in the original, but people still come to the conclusion that Katie pushed her in front of the bus when everybody was recording it and she clearly didn't shove her or do anything. Pre-social media age or not, somebody says something, it's going to spread like wildfire. And I had the same reaction that I did with the original film when Regina kisses that boy that Katie's interested in, and I apologize for the use of the profanity here. I literally went, why, you evil bitch. Sorry, but I'm not sorry. Props to both actresses, Rachel McAdams and I don't know who plays her in this one, but they were very convincing. And for everybody else, everybody's doing just fine. I'm not really going into a whole lot of detail here, I realize that. It's because I don't really have an attachment to the original Mean Girls. And am I the target demographic for this one and its counterparts? Not really, no. And I debated as I was going to the theater to see this, should I go see it or should I just refund my ticket? But I promised you guys that I was going to go check it out. So like the Joker said, I'm a man of my word. Because you never really know what you'll end up with. I will say this, Angourie Rice's Katie, I think, was a little bit more realistic. She looks more like a normal girl in high school. Not that Lindsay Lohan was bad in the original. I like her just fine in there. I would say that this is more or less what I envisioned someone like Katie to be. Not just with her looks, but with her personality. I think it kind of fits her awkwardness. Again, Lohan manages to get that across in the original just fine. I'm just saying I kind of liked it better in this one. Some things that the original does better than this one and vice versa. Kind of a pick your poison type of thing. So yeah, Mean Girls is not something that I would actively watch. I probably will not watch this one and the original again. Not for me. But there is clearly an audience for both movies, and a lot of people that I've heard from seem to either like it or just think it was fine. If you're into this type of high school movie, you're gonna have a good time. So those are my thoughts on Mean Girls. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment below and tell me what your thoughts are if you've seen it, and as always, see you in the next one.